ever find yourself reaching for that late night pint of ice cream or that bag of chips, even when you're not actually hungry? You might tell yourself it's just a little treat, but what if it's a sign of something more? What if you're one of the millions struggling with processed food addiction? Today we're breaking down 5 unmistakable signs that you might be hooked on processed foods, and more importantly, sharing simple, real-world tips that you can use to start taking back control. This isn't about having a lack of willpower. Processed food addiction is a very real condition. And while studies estimate this affects around 14% of adults globally, I tend to think it is much higher than that. These foods, often called ultra-processed foods, are literally engineered with huge amounts of sugar, fat, and salt intended to be irresistible. They're designed to light up the brain's reward system, releasing a chemical called dopamine. It's a similar effect to how the brain responds to addictive substances like nicotine and alcohol. Over time, your brain can start to depend on that feeling, and that's where the cycle of addiction kicks in. So when you get into the signs, see if any of this feels familiar. The first sign, and the one that most people recognize, is dealing with intense, persistent cravings. This isn't just thinking, oh, a cookie sounds nice. This is that powerful, almost overwhelming urge for a specific processed food that feels impossible to ignore. It's the kind of craving that takes over your thoughts, often triggered by stress, sadness, or even boredom. And right alongside that craving comes a total loss of control. Maybe you'll tell yourself that you'll have just 1 or 2 cookies, but then the whole sleeve is gone. Or you buy the share size of chips and whoops, you finish the whole bag by yourself. This pattern of eating way more than you planned and feeling like you can't stop is a classic sign of addictive behavior. It's the feeling that the food is calling the shots and not you. A poll from the University of Michigan found that intense cravings are the most common symptom, with 24% of older adults reporting them at least once a week. So what can you do? The first step is to get your nutrition on solid ground. A lot of these intense cravings get way worse when your blood sugar is on a roller coaster, leaving you hangry and vulnerable. To fight this, focus on eating regular, balanced meals. Don't skip them. Make sure each meal has a good source of protein, healthy fats, and lots of fiber from whole foods. Protein and fat help you to feel full and satisfied for longer, which naturally dials down the intensity of those junk food cravings. When you give your body the steady, quality energy it needs, you're less likely to be at the mercy of a sudden urge for a sugary snack. The second sign is turning to processed foods to deal with feelings. We all have bad days, and reaching for comfort food is normal, but when it becomes your main way of coping, that's a red flag. You might find yourself eating when you're stressed out from work, lonely on a Friday night, or just bored. The food gives you a temporary escape, a moment of pleasure that distracts you from whatever you don't want to feel. This is what experts call emotional eating. The problem is the relief doesn't last. Those high sugar, high fat foods give you a quick dopamine hit that feels good for a second, but it doesn't solve the real issue. In fact, it usually leads to the feelings of guilt and shame afterwards, which can then trigger another round of eating to soothe those bad feelings. It's really a vicious cycle where food is both the solution and the problem, and research shows that when we're stressed or depressed, we tend to reach for more unhealthy ultra-processed foods. The way out of this is to start recognizing and managing your triggers. The first step is just paying attention. The next time you feel a powerful craving, pause for a second and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Are you actually hungry, or are you feeling something else? Once you can name that emotion, stress, loneliness, or frustration, you can find healthier ways to deal with it. Instead of grabbing a snack, try something different. Go for a quick walk, put on your favorite song, do a 5-minute meditation, or call a friend. It's all about building a new set of tools for handling life's curveballs so that food isn't your only option. The third sign is a classic for any addiction, and that is you keep doing it even though you know it's causing you harm. You might be totally aware that your diet is leading to weight gain, high blood pressure, or other health problems. You might feel the mental toll, like more anxiety or brain fog. You've probably even tried to quit or cut back, making promises to yourself that this Monday is the day, only to find yourself right back in the same old pattern by Tuesday. I know, because I've been there. This is where you can see the compulsive nature of addiction. It's not that you don't have the information. You know the food is bad for you. It's that you feel that you've lost the choice. The drive to eat those foods just overpowers your good intentions. One study found that nearly 1 in 5 older adults couldn't cut down on these foods even if they wanted to. This internal battle, wanting to stop but feeling like you can't, is a huge source of stress and a clear sign you're dealing with something more than a bad habit. The key here is to pick a recovery strategy that actually works for you. Generally, there are two main paths: quitting completely or cutting back. For some people, especially if addiction feels severe, complete abstinence is the only way. This means cutting out specific trigger foods entirely because even a little bit can set off the cycle again. For others, a harm reduction approach can work. This means slowly reducing how much you eat, like going from 2 sodas a day to 1, or having desserts only on the weekends. The most important thing is to be honest with yourself about what works. If you find that trying to have just a little always leads to overdoing it, then a plan based on quitting those foods might be your best bet. And sign number 4 is what happens when you do stop. Do you feel awful? Do you cry? A lot of people are shocked to find that quitting processed foods can trigger symptoms that feel a lot like withdrawal, just like addictive drugs. When you suddenly cut those foods out of your diet, you can get hit with some pretty unpleasant and intense physical and psychological symptoms. Physically, you might get headaches, feel exhausted, have zero energy. Psychologically, you can become irritable, anxious, sad, and have some major mood swings. A lot of people report brain fog and having trouble concentrating. These aren't just in your head, they're real. They're biological responses as your brain and body freak out without the constant stimulation from the sugar, the fat, and the salt. Studies show these withdrawal symptoms often hit their peak between days 2 and 5 after you stop, which is a similar timeline to many substance withdrawal syndrome. To get through this rough patch, the 2 best things you can do are to move your body and get good sleep. Exercise is a powerhouse because it naturally boosts your mood, slashes stress by releasing endorphins, which can help make up for that drop in dopamine. Even if it's just a short walk, it can make a big difference. At the same time, make sure you're getting enough sleep. Sleep deprivation makes cravings worse and can make you more emotional, making withdrawal feel even tougher. By focusing on exercise and rest, you're giving your body the support it needs to reset and get through the hardest part of the process. The 5th and final sign of processed food addiction is tolerance. This is when you find that you need more and more of something to get the same feeling that you used to get from a small amount. When it comes to processed food, it might look like this. A year ago, a scoop of ice cream was the perfect treat. Now you need the whole pint to get the same sense of pleasure or relief. 1 cookie used to do the trick, but now you need 4 or 5 to feel satisfied. This happens because your brain actually adapts to the constant flood of the reward signals from the processed food. The dopamine receptors in your brain become less sensitive, which means you need a much bigger hit to get the same feel-good response. It's a sneaky but sure sign that your relationship with food has moved from simple enjoyment to something closer to dependence. You're not just eating for flavor anymore, you're chasing a feeling that's getting harder and harder to find. A great strategy to push back against tolerance is to practice mindful eating and to plan for success. Mindful eating just means slowing down and paying full attention to the experience of eating. Savor each bite, notice all the flavors and textures, and listen to your body's hunger and fullness cues. This can help you be more satisfied with less food, breaking the cycle of needing more and more. Combine this with planning ahead. Keep delicious, healthy snacks and meals ready to go. When you have nourishing options at your fingertips, you're much less likely to fall into the trap of mindless, automatic eating, which is what fuels the cycle of tolerance in the first place. So there you have it. 5 key signs of a processed food addiction: intense cravings and loss of control, emotional eating, continuing despite consequences, withdrawal, and tolerance. Just recognizing these patterns in yourself is the first and most powerful step you can take towards getting your health back. And if any of this hits home for you, let me know in the comments what one small change you can make today. Your story might be the inspiration that someone else needs to see. If you are searching for a health coach who specializes in processed food addiction, you can book a consultation with me. The link will be in the show notes. Remember, this isn't a willpower problem or some kind of moral failure. Processed food addiction is real and its roots are biological. The best news is recovery is 100% possible. It's a journey, not a race, so be kind to yourself. There will probably be setbacks along the way, but every single step you take towards healthier eating is a win. For more content on building healthy habits and understanding the science of your body, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.